This conference will now be recorded.
Just a reminder again, if you are logging in, we need you to mute your phones. If you aren't muted yourself, I'm going to find you and mute you. Let's use the chat function if you have a question, but we're going to begin by turning the floor over to our delegation. We're going to let them each take a turn and just let you guys know what's going on from their perspective and the things that they're working on.
Becky, would you like to start?
Okay, well, I have been nominated to start. This is Becky Nordgren. How is everybody? I hope everybody's doing well and staying safe. As you well know, session has been postponed. We are currently supposed to be in session, but they postponed it, especially given the fact that the health orders are in place, and we are trying to do our best to contain this virus. Currently, we have a lot of data here, and I don't know how to begin with it. And much of it you might already know, so I'm really wanting to hear from the ones participating on the phone call to see which direction to go with some of the data that we've got in front of us. I'm going to pass the ball over to Gil now and let him just say hello, and then we'll start a discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Gil Isbell, District 28. Glad to be here for you. Always know that if you ever have any questions, you can email us individually, or you can call us individually. You're more than welcome to give that information to Heather to provide to you. There is a lot of information out there. What we can do is talk about the unemployment issues. We can talk about the hospital issues. We can talk about the social distancing issues and what's being practiced by local merchants and the big box merchants, because that's been one big problem, but I think it's in much, much better shape since Governor Ivey did the shelter in place announcement. So we'll let Representative Lipscomb say hello and address one or two things, and then we could address specific issues either from Heather, or each one of us could take one.
This is Craig Lipscomb, District 30. Just wanted to let you guys know, in addition to what Becky and Gil have already stated, we've all been in constant communication with local leadership, whether that's the governor and the mayor or the city council for your respective municipalities, or for the county commissions. We try to stay in contact also with EMA and with our local hospital administrations. As of right now, everybody's indicating to us that they're in good shape, but again, we try to remain in constant contact so that we can make ourselves available as needed.
Well, thank all three of you. I know you guys are really busy and working really hard to help make Alabama as safe as possible. I guess let's start a little bit with the situation that we have in Etowah County. I know I listened in on the council call this morning when Deborah Gaither presented, and she notified the council that we had a D- rating as far as social distancing in our community. I guess I would just like for you guys to talk a little bit about that and what needs to happen from this point forward.
I would like to chime in on that. Before yesterday, that was a concern, because we didn't have any kind of, and I hate it that we had that Steve Marshall, our Attorney General, had to do this. He has made it a Class C misdemeanor to disobey the, if you want to call it that, the stay-at-home order. Now, there are many exceptions when it pertains to essential business, essential jobs, essential tasks like grocery shopping, going to your drugstore, picking up supplies and all that kind of stuff. But what was happening across the state is there were people congregating like they had to disperse someone having a bonfire, it seemed like every other night. And this was not in our county, but it's just, some situations that they were concerned about. So that's the reason for the Class C misdemeanor. And I think up to a $500 fine. They are in hopes that this penalty will help them mitigate the folks getting out there when they shouldn't be out there. I don't like it, and I hope they're careful with it, but that's just something the state our Attorney General decided to do. Any comments, guys?
I would like to bring up, we had talked about, the governor had asked for restaurants, bars, and the like to close down except for curbside service. That's put a burden on these small businesses, but it's also put a burden on chains as well. They had to lay people off, which was not good. But then we have our big box retailers, and just to name 2 or 3, Lowe's, Academy, and Walmart. There have been a lot of complaints about that, and that's statewide. We have communication with other representatives, and that was voiced to the governor's office numerous times. And what it comes down to is just like what Becky had stated, that the Attorney General has made it a class 3 misdemeanor for $500 fine. But I think that these big box retailers are doing a better job on their protocol, allowing people in, because folks would show up with all their family, 3 or 4 kids, their wife and husband, and you only need one person in there to get the job done, maybe 2 at the most. So I think that these big box retailers are doing a better job. And there's one in particular. There's a question to the Attorney General: are they an essential business? I'm not going to name who they are, but we will find a determination out within the next day or 2 if they have to close their doors totally.
This is Craig. Just wanted to elaborate on the big box issue as well. Early on in the stay-at-home order, it was my opinion that there was some unfairness that was being presented in this matter of big box stores being permitted to stay open while our small businesses were having to close down. The problem was that there were portions of the big box businesses that were deemed essential, whereas other aspects of that business were not. And I spoke with our liaison with the governor's office and lamented about this, because it is my opinion that the big box stores should be utilizing some barriers or some tape to delineate only the areas that are considered essential, and to prevent people from going into the other areas, such as clothing areas, which would be an unfair treatment compared to maybe clothing retailers in a smaller format. Now, when it comes to the enforcement of the stay-at-home, right now, or actually Saturday, I made a trip to Lowe's just to put my eyeballs on the situation, and it did look like people were taking this much more seriously. There were very few people in the store, and they were maintaining an extreme distance from one another. I was very pleased to see that. But what we need to do is we need to contact our local municipalities and insist that they enforce the law and make sure that things are being done the way that the governor would have them to be done. Just from a personal aspect, my daughter wanted to go fishing with a friend the other day at a pond down the street, and I had to tell her no. It's just one of those things that we're going to have to all pitch in and do our best and do our due diligence to keep ourselves and other people safe.
Well, thank you guys for weighing in on that. I understand we are currently ranked 5th in the state as far as infections, and we do have 3 confirmed deaths and several others that are under investigation. So hopefully we will, with this grim reminder, take it a lot more seriously. It is hard to tell your kids no, and it feels like summer and like a beautiful day, and to tell them they can't socialize has to be difficult. Another really big topic that I know a lot of our members have had a lot of questions on, and there's, this is all unrolling so fast, and there's so much information, is unemployment. I know that there have been some waivers, things have been relaxed. Do you know, I think one of the biggest questions we get asked is, will the state act on accepting the additional $600 per person that was outlined by federal legislation? And could you just talk a little bit about what the unemployment office is dealing with? I know I read a report that they typically have 1,500 claims they process in a week, and last week alone they had over 70,000. So if you guys could speak on that just a bit.
All right. Heather, this is Gil Isbell. Actually, that was one thing in particular. There was an accounting firm that I've been talking with. They're dealing with the feds. They go to the Treasury website and the labor website nationally, and they're trying. The biggest problem right now is that the SBA and the Treasury are interpreting the rules or what's been laid out differently. So that's why it's still things are in motion. I did send an email to our liaison with the governor's office the other day speaking about the $600. The governor has not signed off on that yet, and he's supposed to be getting back with me in the very near future, informing me why. Is it something we're waiting for? Because that $600 on top of the unemployment, what people are receiving from the state would be extremely helpful to all households. So I don't have a specific answer, but we have asked the question, and hopefully we'll get a response in the very near future. I was actually speaking with a liaison Friday and Saturday, and then he was going to address it on Monday. Anybody else?
Well, also, too, I just spoke to the Alabama Labor Department today, and they said to tell our constituents to go ahead and go to the Labor Department's website for the state and go ahead and apply. And, he also referenced whoever's applying to make sure that they are checking. I don't know if it's checking or bubbling or whatever, that this is due to the COVID virus. And that way, that'll get you in line for it's not a continuation of already filed, unemployment. It's new because of the COVID virus. And those were his instructions this morning.
I don't think I have much more to add to that conversation.
Well, in that case, can we talk a little bit about our area hospitals? I know you guys have been in contact and you're keeping check on what all's going on there. How are folks doing? How is our administrative force at the hospitals? How are they doing?
This is Craig. It's been a few days since I've made contact again with the CEOs of each respective hospital, but I will say this. We are a community that is fortunate enough to have two hospitals in close proximity to one another. We have more access to health care than many people in a similar situation as us. But, after contacting each respective hospital, the conversation typically ends with, what can I do for you? And their response is, I think we've got it all handled. So I feel like we're in a pretty good position here. Obviously, when we get to and I pray to God we don't, but if we do get to a situation where we are needing a great many more respirators than what we currently have, then I think the federal government is prepared to make that happen for us, but only on an as-needed basis. We're perpetually needing PPEs. That is, our personal protective equipment, which is going to be our 95 mask, our other respective face protection, gloves, those sort of things. What I would ask people to do, even businesses, if you happen to come across these things, let's say, for example, that you are a millwork shop, you are a shop that makes cabinets or something to that effect, and you utilize these masks on a regular basis, do us a favor and take those to your local hospital and donate those for their use, because that is the highest thing in demand right now, and we just simply can't put our hands on enough of those things at this time.
Heather, I spoke to Corey Ewing, if I'm pronouncing that right, with Gadsden Regional this morning, in fact. And he said that they're very marginal with their PPEs, and like Craig said, they have been, asking for the N95 mask, but they have gotten with Alabama Department of Public Health, and they have found a way to sanitize those. So they can be reused. They're that durable, which was surprising to me because I've never even had a N95 mask, and I didn't realize that they were that durable. And he said also too that he could use the medical masks that are not the N95, that they've got some of those, but they are afraid that in, you know, the near future, those might be scarce as well. So any leads anybody has to just the simple medical mask would be helpful also. In addition to that, Senator Paul Sanford, that I don't think he ran again in 2018. He has posted that he knows a place to get those surgical masks, but I haven't gotten to my computer long enough to try to shoot him an email and ask where that is. But if anybody knows him personally, that might be some lead we can track down for sure.
All right, then this is Gil Isbell. Actually, I had talked with Corey yesterday morning, and he said they are adequate on the PPEs. They're adequate on the ventilators. Also talked with the CEO at Riverview, John Langoy, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They are adequate as well. They're both putting in their orders or their prorated PPEs with the state, and every day, 2 or 3 times a day, they're talking with their suppliers. I did get one supplier in touch with one of the hospitals. He's local, and then I got him in touch with the Alabama Department of Public Health. I'm not sure if he was bringing things in from China, and it was going to be, the problem is the PPEs are being bid up against each other, and the state as well as the federal government, they're trying to prevent that. But overall, I think the hospitals have a handle on things. Because of elective surgeries, you might drive through the parking lots and there aren't many cars. You don't see a lot of activity. The less activity you have, the better, because that means there are probably fewer of the coronavirus patients. Each hospital does have patients, but everything, because of privacy issues, they can't tell us very much. But they're working hand in hand with the Hospital Association, the Alabama Department of Public Health, as well as with us.
And currently, statewide, if we're going to just expand on the hospitals, statewide, 52% of hospital beds are available. 35% of ICU beds are available. They have 1,800 ventilators available. So it just comes down to, tracking down the PPEs that we need. And a lot of that is just on projection. Currently, they're fine, but they project needing it not long from now.
And also from talking with the hospital, this is Gil again, talking with the hospitals and also with people with the Alabama Department of Public Health. The CDC has a form that hospitals fill out every day. It tells them how many masks, how many face guards, how many protective garments, how many gloves they have. So what they're making sure is that if there's a proration that needs to be done, and if there's an area, say like Birmingham needed it because they had the first spike, they were getting priority. Now that's kind of leveled off around the state, but the Alabama Department of Public Health is overseeing that, but it's through the CDC protocol. So when people say we're not getting our share and somebody else is, well, the truth is nobody's getting an overwhelming share unless they went out and bought it themselves on the black market. So.
Would you guys talk a little bit about the activation of the National Guard and how they're helping in this activity?
Okay, Heather,
Yes.
The National Guard has been activated for several reasons, but one I've just recently had a conversation with the governor's office about is they're going to be using the National Guard to transport patients from like a rural hospital to another hospital. So you have a patient in a rural hospital that needs some sort of attention that can't be given to them in that rural hospital. Will be using the National Guard to transport those patients. That's one. Also, in the effort of the state has identified several locations where they are getting the Corps of Engineers to prep, if you will, or have all that ready to add beds. Like I want to say Jefferson County, no, Sheraton Hotels in Jefferson County is one of them. So the Corps of Engineers, if we need it, would have everything ready to go to get that set up for additional beds and nurses and doctor staff. And the National Guard would also assist in that as well. And that is the only information I've gotten thus far about the National Guard.
At this point, the National Guard is in limited use, but they are on they are in a position to where when the governor needs them to perform a specific duty, they can do so and rather quickly.
And Heather, I think they've hit everything. They've hit everything regarding the National Guard.
Well, I understand that the governor released a new website that kind of consolidates a lot of the information about assistance and services during this this outbreak. You guys have some more information about the website? I believe it's AL. Well,
it's actually Together Alabama, and so
okay.
I don't know if it's www.togetheralabama.com or what. I just was, I got a text earlier to check it out, and I haven't actually gotten to my computer to check it out.
If I may, Becky, I believe the actual website is AL, as in Alabama, Together, and then the word Alabama again, .org. That's okay. altogetheralabama.org. But if you were to type in AL Together, I'm certain that your browser will take you to that link. What's nice about this website is that it's not only a place where you can find out how the state can help you, but it's also a website where you can provide help to others. And it will give you more information about that as you browse the website.
Heather, I would like to say that I think one of the main reasons this website came along is that numerous legislators around the state were going like, we need one location for the population to go to where the information could be disseminated, where they could see it, and it can help them go and maybe be sent to the Department of Public Health if needed, or if they need to go to the Labor Department. But it's just one location because this is an unprecedented event, and I think the state's done a good job of getting this all together within 2 weeks and opening this website. So this is something we hope will help the citizens of the state and our constituents here in the area.
Heather, there is another website that our small business owners need to be aware of. It is atlasalabama.gov. atlasalabama.gov. This is a website designed specifically for small business owners as it relates to the COVID-19 virus.
Gotcha. Thank you. So along the line with assistance, we've heard a lot about the assistance programs already rolling out to businesses. I understand President Trump has mentioned expansion of those programs and expansion of funding. What are you hearing is going to be available to the state? Obviously, the state's going to suffer from lots of some payroll tax, some retail tax. What are you? I know you guys are planning to reconvene later in the year to look at the budget. What are you guys hearing?
As far as the budget goes, or what we're supposed to receive from the federal government?
Both, and how that would impact the budget, the negative impact you're anticipating on the budget, and what you do expect to receive from the federal funds.
Well, Craig might have some recent information, but I think our last conference call, they said right now we're at level. What did you hear, Craig?
That's correct. Yeah.
Gil Isbell and myself were speaking with Chairman Poole the other day regarding what the state budget was going to be looking like for this coming year. As you can imagine, Gil and I were concerned about how the lack of payroll tax and et cetera was going to affect things. But the good news is we've been doing so good in the past that rather than decreasing our budget for this coming year, we're just simply going to keep it level. We had anticipated actually growing it a great deal. We're just simply not going to grow it. We're just going to keep it as is. Now, there may be some areas where we may need to decrease the budget just for conservative reasons, but in general, we think we're going to be able to keep things pretty much as is. I'll let Gil fill in the blanks there.
Well, Craig is correct. You know, the chairperson Poole of the Education Trust Fund, he was very adamant that there wouldn't be a decrease. It would probably be level spending. But if things really got bad, you know, there is a rainy day fund that could be drawn on, and I think that's in the range of $400 to $500 million that's in there right now for the Education Trust Fund, which was $7.1 billion last year. The projected raises that were going to be recommended probably will not. That's going to be on both the budget, on both budgets, the general budget as well as the Education Trust Fund, because of the reduction of sales tax that the state will be receiving in the future. But I think that overall, Representative Poole was very positive, and he was hoping for some things, even though the state has and is going through this, he thinks that we can recover from it quickly, and it should not have a long-term effect on the budgets after this year.
That's actually really good news. We all know we could use some good news. So we're going to remind everybody that's on the call, if you've got questions that you would like to ask, you can enter those questions into the chat. We'll read them aloud to our delegation and let them answer. I know you guys said you had a lot of other data. Are there some areas I haven't touched on that you do feel like it's important to share?
I have a few things. One when in our conference call that we had Monday with all the task force and everything, AG Attorney General Steve Marshall mentioned the fact that the legislature, when we convene again, need to pass a law that will define a quarantine. Believe it or not, in our Code Book of Alabama, there's not a defined definition of the word quarantine. So we're going to be looking at that and try to get that into the next session so we can, make a definition of what it is, so that if we have a crisis like this again, it won't be just adding to and changing. It'll be, defined in our statutes, so we'll know what to do there. Also, too, anybody that is going to and from for business reasons, you might want to keep a copy of the last Alabama Department of Public Health order, because it lists the essential businesses that may be operating, so that if you were to get stopped, you would have that and you can show that what you're doing is essential, and you won't, be cited for anything. Let's see. Also, too, the ADPH says that they predict April the 16th or April 17th being our peak for the virus. Some projections that were given out in Calhoun County today had it projected at April 22nd, but that was based on a model without this stay-at-home order. So I'm not sure which it'll be, but that's not far away, and I'm ready to get this virus out of here. So anything else, guys?
If I may, it's just a general topic that I want to address real quick regarding the order that the governor has placed out there. We don't want people to be armchair attorneys. Don't look for loopholes in the proclamation. You know what the intent is here. So let's not be trying to say, well, I'm in a gray area, so I'm going to do what I want to do. That's not what we're looking for here. If it's not explicitly telling you to do one thing or another, err to the side of caution. And so, just use common sense and don't look for loopholes to get you out of doing what you need to be doing. Also, for those of you who have small businesses, you're going to have employees traveling from home to work if you are an essential business, and essential in quotation marks. If that's the case, it would be prudent for you to write a letter that says, my employee, John Smith, is deemed an essential worker, et cetera, et cetera. Cite the paragraph in the page in the health that the health department has issued, and it'll make it very clear and very quick for any law enforcement officer to adjudicate whether they are essential or not, and it'll save them from any potential problems that they may encounter on the roadway.
One thing I would like to add as well is, small businesses, large businesses, medium-sized business, independent contractors, everybody's being affected. If you're a professional, if you're a worker, you're an employee, your employer, best thing to do, and I know you've been told this, talk to your CPA. I know several CPAs, they're doing 2, 3, 4 webinars a day with the Treasury Department, the Department of Labor, the state Labor Department. They're in constant contact with these folks, but they're still trying to figure it out. As I said earlier, the SBA and the Treasury Department they can't seem to come together. Hopefully, the administration will help them understand what is the intent of the law. So, we don't have a direct answer on that, but we're trying to get more. As we get more and more information, I know Becky, Craig, and myself, we release it on our Facebook pages as it's written and what we see interpreted, so people can see it as soon as possible, and the other representatives around the state are doing the same, and the other legislatures. So, as I said earlier, feel free to give us a call directly, and we'll give that information to Heather to disseminate to you guys if y'all have any questions.
We appreciate you guys so much. I haven't seen any questions be posted. I think a lot of us just wanted to hear your voices, and we appreciate your leadership. We wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to connect direct to our members, and our members connect direct to you. Is there anything else, any parting thoughts you'd like to leave our group with?
I wondered, Heather, would it be advisable if we yelled out our contact phone numbers? And also, too, I don't know if you've received this, Heather. It's I'll send it your way. That Governor Ivey announced Ribbons of Hope campaign. Have you seen that? If you haven't seen that, I'm going to shoot it your way.
Please do.
Okay, I'll send it your way. But would you like for us to shout out our contact phone number for everybody?
That would be wonderful.
Okay, I'm going to give my cell phone number out. It's 256-328-1653.
This is Craig. Mine is 256-390-0515.
And this is Gil Isbell. It's 256-328-2032.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I thank you for always being accessible and wanting to do all that you can to help our folks. And we'd love to have you back on a much more pleasant note, hopefully soon and in person, and maybe with some lunch or breakfast. But until then, I hope you and all of your families are safe, and please let us know if the Chamber can do anything for you guys. We appreciate everybody for tuning in with us today. We'll post this to our website a little later as soon as the recording completes. So you can go back and share it with any members that weren't able to join us, or if you need to listen to a few details, there's a lot of data shared, so if you need to regroup and focus in on a part, you'll be able to do that. I do want to mention Sheila Hand is with the Alabama Job Link with the Career Center. She did note in the comments that if anyone is hiring, and believe it or not, there are some industries right now that are hiring, they've got a desperate need, and you've got a COVID-19 specific need. to let her know. It's Sheila, SHEILA .hand, HAND at amcc.alabama.gov. And they'll get that job posted on JobLink statewide. So everybody, I hope you stay safe. It was great to see some of your faces. I miss everybody, and we will be in touch soon. Remember, we do have a call lined up tomorrow with Senator Jones, and I hope you can join us for that. So representatives, we appreciate you so much. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch with you again soon.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
God bless.